Welcome to the life you crave. Simple and sustainable weight loss for women who have better things to do than diet. I'm your host, Leah Pinelli. I help ambitious, badass women stop overeating, overworking, and overgiving to lose weight from a place of love. I'll help you simplify weight loss, end your overwhelm, and create the life you crave. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to this podcast. Let's get started.
Hey, ladies, raise your hand if you've ever said, "It tastes so good, I just can't stop." Sure you have. We all have. But some of us have said it more often than others. We feel like we have no control over those foods. And so we often fall into a cycle of restriction and deprivation and then binging on those foods. And that doesn't work. It feels miserable. On today's episode, I'm going to share with you what I've learned about where the fine line is between true, real pleasure and overdoing it. Because over the years, I've learned how to identify that point of diminishing returns so that I can create the experience that I want to have with food, which is pure pleasure without self-sabotage or regret. So I've got 6 steps for you to walk you through how you can figure this out for yourself too. And of course, if you want to do it together, please come and let me know that you're interested in my 90 Days to Food Freedom program, because we go way deeper on this stuff and apply it all there together. So we all have foods that we wish we could eat and enjoy and not overdo it with, right? And for me, that list of foods used to be really, really long. What started off as feeling really pleasurable, such as a mouthful of fresh homemade fettuccine Alfredo, or a swig of a beautiful Bordeaux, a handful of salty popcorn, or a smooth lick of an Italian chocolate gelato. Those experiences started off as really pleasurable, but would often turn into an uncomfortable, anxiety-ridden experience within minutes. I often felt like I just couldn't stop. I couldn't eat just a few bites. My brain would fixate on that food or drink until I had overdone it. And I know I'm not alone with that experience. So many of you guys, my listeners, have experienced the same. It's frustrating because we just want to enjoy the food like a, quote, normal person, but instead we feel compelled to overdo it. So the first thing that you have to do in order to stop this cycle of overdoing it with foods that just taste so good is you have to really get conscious. You have to raise your awareness and become quite mindful of which foods is it that you tend to overdo it with. Now, when I used to be a big time overeater, I could overdo it with anything. I could overdo it with carrots. I could overdo it with, salad. I could overdo it with absolutely anything. But there were certain foods that I felt like was out of my control. And I've already named a few. So what you want to do is not shame yourself if your list was long. My list was super long. But also keep in mind that there are many reasons that we overeat. And I can't go over all of them on this one short episode today. But the one reason we're going to focus on today is that reason of feeling like you're overeating because it tastes so good. So why do I want you to identify those foods that taste so good that you feel like you can't stop overeating? Because you're going to need to spend some time really thinking about what you want your relationship to be like with these foods. Now, I know that might sound like a lot of effort to spend a lot of time thinking about what you want your relationship to be like, but right now, I'd be willing to guess you're already spending a lot of time thinking about those foods in the form of planning to restrict those foods, avoid those foods, and then regret when you inadvertently and inevitably binge on those foods. So instead, get proactive. A question that I like to ask my clients is, what do you want your relationship to look like with said food. And I'm going to give you an example. My relationship with wine. So I'm going to give you an example, not from necessarily a client's life, but from my own life. Currently, I love red wine. I always have. I truly enjoy it. I get tons of real pleasure from it. And what I mean by real pleasure is red wine for me, when I drink it in certain ways and when I curate certain experiences with it, I have a net positive. The experience of the wine has a net positive impact, meaning that there is more of an upside to enjoying that wine than there is a downside. I truly enjoy it when I am intentional and mindful about it. But wine can quickly turn into a problem for me. Not because I'm an alcoholic, not because I overdrink in one sitting. In fact, I rarely exceed 2 glasses in one sitting. But I can get into a strong habit of drinking it daily. And that is a problem for me. That for me is overdrinking. That might not be overdrinking for some, but that is overdrinking for me. Because as much as I love wine, I don't want to drink it daily for many reasons. One is that it increases my chance of breast cancer. It interferes with my sleep and my energy levels the next day, even just 1 or 2 glasses, if I have them every night. I have noticed a pattern because I have experimented with this where I drank red wine every single night for months. And I noticed that I was generally more lethargic and less excited about getting out of bed the next day when I had the kind of buildup of wine in my system every night, even though I wasn't exceeding 1 to 2 glasses a night. It can also cause my weight to kind of get stuck at a certain number, and it's dehydrating, not great for my skin. But mostly, the number one reason why I don't want to drink it every day is because I don't want to have a wine habit. I don't want to have a habit of feeling like I have to have anything on a daily basis, except for maybe water and sleep. The fact that wine is habit forming is important to note that yes, alcohol indisputably has addictive properties. But I'm not talking about right now, today, the addiction aspect of alcohol. I am talking simply about how the human brain will create a habit out of any repeated behavior. We all have habits. Brushing your teeth, hopefully, is one of them, right? Changing your clothes from day clothes to PJs might be another habit you have, and you don't even think about it. The more you practice something, the more habituated it will become. So if you come home from work every day and you immediately go change your clothes and take your dog for a walk, eventually that becomes a habit. Your brain is going to associate that time of day, walking in the door, seeing your dog, with the action of automatically triggering an action of changing your clothes and heading out with your dog. You're barely going to think about it. It has become habituated. And if you're like me and you would walk in the door, or in my case, out of my home office, and immediately pour a glass of red wine, your brain is going to habituate that too. So my brain started to associate stress and being tired at the end of the day with red wine. I love the saying, what fires together, wires together, meaning neurologically speaking, when you are constantly coupling your stress with, say, a cigarette, or again, that's something with an addictive property, but coupling stress with a walk around the block, or stress with a massage, or stress with a glass of wine, or stress with chocolate. Anytime you are coupling those two things together, that's what the firing aspect of that term is. What fires together, wires together, meaning your neural pathways will start to wire those two actions together so they become one. It's the same reason that we almost all associate popcorn with the movies, right? Because we've done that action so many times of eating popcorn in a movie theater, smelling popcorn, hearing people munching popcorn. All of those associations, those sensory associations with popcorn in the movies, means that now when you think of the movies, you think of popcorn. It's a neural association. Same deal. My brain is now associating stress and wine. But I don't want that association. Why? Because I love wine And so therefore, I don't want to associate it with stress. Stress is a negative. Wine is a positive. Love is a positive. Pleasure. I want to couple wine and pleasure. And now I do have the association of wine and pleasure. In fact, that's why my brain is inserting wine into the stress factor, because our brains don't like stress. And so your brain is automatically thinking, okay, we're feeling stressed. We're feeling uncomfortable. What can we do to get away from this emotion? What's quick and easy? Oh, just go pour a glass of red wine in the kitchen. Boom, done. So my brain is seeking pleasure to avoid the discomfort of stress. I have a human brain. Nothing has gone wrong. So do you. So if your brain is seeking the Skittles out of your kid's Halloween basket coming up, it's because you're a human and nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is looking for pleasure to escape a negative emotion. But I have control over my brain. Believe it or not, I have control. I can change this habituation. I can change this neural association. It's not going to be too comfortable in the beginning, but if I'm determined and motivated to do so, I can change it, and eventually that neural association will be broken. So here is how you do it. Like I said, you've got this list of foods that you tend to overdo it with. So you're going to go through the list one by one and ask yourself that magical question. What do I want my relationship to look like with this food? So for me, I'll tell you, I want to enjoy wine during positive experiences on the weekends with my husband, with my friends and family. I've got Facebook pinging me in the background. Let me close that. There we go. So I want it to be a really positive experience, full of joy and love, not stress and being tired. So I'm going to really visualize that relationship. I'm going to picture myself sitting down in the backyard on Friday night with a nice glass of rosé and hanging out with my husband. I'm going to really picture what that looks like. And I'm going to enjoy it because that's pure pleasure for me. And I'm going to plan for that. But then you're probably wondering, what do I do about that weekday habit? Because that's going to be pretty uncomfortable to come to the end of a Monday night and not get to go pour that glass of red wine when I'm feeling stressed and tired. Well, the next step, and don't worry, I'm going to recap all of this at the end. And by the way, I know that most of you are busy, professional, ambitious, working moms out there who are listening to this podcast, and you probably don't have a pen and paper while you're listening. You're probably commuting to work or folding some laundry or, on the treadmill or walking your dog like me, whatever it is you're doing. Don't worry, I got you. You can go to leahpinelli.com/goodies if you're not already on my email list, and I will send out to you the cheat sheet for this particular episode. So all of these steps will be laid out for you, so you don't have to worry about taking notes because I got your back, sister. So what is the next thing you want to do? You've got to figure out now, okay, I've got this weekday habit, drinking the red wine every night. How am I going to break this habit? Well, first of all, don't expect it to be, a walk in the park. Don't expect it to be easy or comfortable even. What you need to expect is that you're going to feel the stress and you're going to feel tired. And you're going to let yourself just feel the feeling. You're not going to try to, push through or white knuckle it, but instead you're just going to plan. I'm going to feel some stress and some tiredness tonight. And I expect it. And it's okay. And nothing's gone wrong that I feel stressed and tired tonight, right? And I know that sounds like hell, but reminding yourself, I am committed to working through this habit that I have created so that I can break the habit. And I can become someone new with wine, or insert whatever it is for you there. And then what you can do is, once you have accepted that you can handle feeling stress and exhaustion without drinking the wine or eating the chocolate or, the bread and cheese or whatever it is, then, and only once you've accepted, you can't push through this one, after you've accepted that you can feel those feelings without, imploding, then you can start to explore some alternate stress relievers, right? So I'll give you an example. You guys, it's so funny. I'm 44 years old. I have advanced degrees from Stanford University and UC Berkeley. And yet still, I literally had to Google how to unwind after work. Now, and not only that, I'm a former yoga and meditation teacher, but I was like, when I was really trying to break my wine habit, my brain was at such a loss. I Googled it. Okay. So So if you are like, I don't know how to live my life in the evenings without chocolate after I put the kids to bed, or, without eating thirds of, or eating off of my kids' mac and cheese plate. If you have to Google it, girl, you can Google it. You can also just call me. And I would love to chat with you about it because I've got lots of tips and tricks to help you with that. But I Googled it, and here is what I came up with, because I didn't want to plan. I mean, I'm drinking my red wine, by the way, at a time that I can't go do yoga. Like, I have a family. It's dinner time. I got to get the mail. I got to help my kid with homework. Like, there's all kinds of things going on. I can't just be like, I'm going to go zen out and, go for this long walk or do this long yoga practice. That's not going to work. So instead, I thought about what I could do that I could layer into my life in the evenings, just like I was able to layer in the red wine. And I came up with 3 ideas. One is I always shower at night anyway. So I thought I could leave my office and I could go take a shower, but not just any shower, a spa shower, where I decided I was going to start treating myself to really nice bath gels or, a really nice face mask. Nothing that has to take very long. It doesn't have to, because again, we've got stuff to do in the evenings around here if your family's anything like mine. I even Googled a spa box subscription because I don't really like to shop. And that way it comes to my house once a month. And I've got all these fun little, luxurious products to try in my shower each evening. That sounds so nice and refreshing. I'm going to bring a sparkling water in the bathroom with me and make it a little mini spa, even 15 minutes, right? I'm going to shower anyway. So I'm not adding to my plate here. I'm simply changing the experience to break the pattern, to break the association with, I would love to associate being stressed and tired with a spa shower. That sounds fantastic, right? As opposed to the crutch of red wine. I also thought about walking my dog, even just a 10-minute walk in the neighborhood. I happen to live in Southern California where the weather is usually gorgeous, and just getting outdoors, some deep breaths, watching the sunset for 10 minutes while my dog sniffs the neighbor's grass. It's easy, it's quick, and it's a beautiful new association that I can make. And also, last but not least, and this one's not nearly as wholesome or holistic, but just going out and laying on my living room floor and watching 30 minutes of, my Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something like that. So those were 3 ideas that I came up with that I was genuinely excited about doing, that sound fantastic to me and would make me, I might still miss the wine because, I'd love to take a glass of red wine into my spa shower, but I am breaking that association. And so if I were to do that, I would just be reinforcing it. Every single action that you take is either reinforcing or it is detracting from who you most want to be. And so I want to be somebody who brings a sparkling water into that spa shower Monday through Thursday. And then Friday night, I'm enjoying my martini and my red wine out in our beautiful backyard here in Southern California. So this is an approach that allows my brain to create a new habitual stress response that is more aligned to who I want to be. Now, an alternative to this is to actually examine what is causing so much stress and exhaustion and explore the possibility of changing those circumstances. But I'm not going to go into that in this episode because the truth is that stress and exhaustion is a part of life, especially if you are an ambitious, badass woman, which I'm guessing if you're listening to this podcast, you are. And so really learning how to live with those emotions and manage those emotions and flow with those emotions in ways that propel you to becoming who you want to be, as opposed to resisting the current circumstance. That is growth. That is creating the life you crave. That is the pathway to freedom, to food freedom, as I call it. There's no right or wrong answer. All that matters is that your actions are backed up by reasons that you like. And if you don't like your reasons, then you've got some work to do, but it's totally, totally worth it. So let's recap it, ladies. And remember, you can head over to leahpinelli.com if you're not on my list already. And you can, you can sign up for my free training, Eating Without Fear, and that will put you right on my list. And you'll get all of these emails every week. It's one email a week that you get from me with all of the tips and tricks and recaps from the podcast. But you would also get my free training, How to Eat Only When You're Hungry and Stop When You're Not, called Eating Without Fear. So go to leahpinelli.com/goodies and get hooked up. Okay. Here are the 6 steps that I gave you tonight to or I say tonight, you might be listening to this any time of day, but it is tonight where I am, Monday night, But these are the 6 steps that you can use to break any pattern that you're currently struggling with food or drinks that you are overdoing it with, that you really want to enjoy. You don't want to have to cut it out from your life. You don't want to have to eliminate it completely. You want to enjoy it, but you want to stop when the pleasure stops. And by the way, my Eating Without Fear training, which is the free training at leahpinelli.com, will help you with this as well. It's a beautiful complement to what we're talking about here tonight. So if you haven't done that, go do it. The video is less than 30 minutes long. So number 1, make a list of foods that you tend to overdo it with. 2, go through the list one by one and visualize what you want your relationship with each one of those foods to look like. 3, make a plan to implement that visualization. 4, anticipate it being uncomfortable and feeling those feelings anyway. 5, replace the old habit with a new, more aligned habit. And 6, examine the root of the trigger for the habit and explore possible adjustments that you might make. Okay, you all, I hope you all are celebrating and reveling in your badassery. I will see you back here, same time, same place next week on The Life You Crave.
You've been listening to The Life You Crave. I lost 30 pounds years ago without dieting, willpower, or deprivation. I'm on a mission to help other women, including you, do the same. You can book a free weight loss strategy session with me over at leahpinelli.com. That's LIAPINELLI.com. See you on our next call or on the next episode. And remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on iTunes.